Hi, this is Tyler Woods. You're listening to KMKR LP 99.9 FM Tucson and the show Music Matters. And today, how exciting that I'm with not only a good friend of mine and a former bandmate in several bands, Matt Bruner.
Howdy.
Hi, Matt. You get around.
Yeah, I get real busy playing with a bunch of people, and then it kind of backs off, and I do my own thing, and it just cycles back and forth.
Yeah, so I know you back up quite a few people.
Mm-hmm.
Tammy West.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorites. When I see you and Tammy, I used to play in a band with Tammy.
Yes.
Minnie, when she first arrived in Tucson. But when the two of you get together, it's just magic. Let me ask you a question. Will the two of you ever release a CD?
It will never be a Matt and Tammy show. It's all Tammy's stuff, and it will always go under her name. I'm a side man. I'm very devoted to her music. I take it very seriously, but I am a musician playing with Tammy.
She's. I have to get her in here. I think I had
Yes.
talked to her October when she has a big show coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do that. Who else do you back up in town?
I did some bass work for Denise Lane a couple weeks ago at a showcase. Did some recording for you on
did?
your CD.
And you played with Zen Salad for quite a while.
I did. Mm-hmm. And done a show with the Bluegrass People.
The Lizard Rock
Ramblers, yes.
Yeah. Great.
So yeah, just whatever comes up.
And you yourself are, I think Tucson is so gifted to have you. You are such a talented singer-songwriter.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
It's just always, I just feel very honored that we get to interview you and talk with you.
Thank you.
So you said you're going to do some music in the next few weeks. Is that what you're saying? You're going to do some recording or something?
Yeah, I actually ended up with a pile of songs I hadn't recorded yet. And I was trying to think of what I could do with them. And so I ended up with a pile of happy songs and a pile of sad songs. And I've recorded these mostly acoustic guitar and vocals, and usually just maybe one added thing. Just kept it very simply. So I've finished 10 songs for the happy CD, and I'm getting ready to record 10 songs for the unhappy CD.
And is that how you're promoting it? The happy side and the unhappy side?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dark versus light thing.
Like it's a yin and yang CD.
Yeah. It'll be a light versus for the first CD, then versus dark for the second one. Mm-hmm. That's the plan.
Now, is that just how it ended up, or did you plan it that way?
That's how it ended up. I was trying to make sense of this pile of about 25 songs and just started playing with ideas like, oh, okay, well, this kind of works. And it ended up, 10 in one pile and 10 in the other pile.
Right. Well, I can't. Now, will you release it as a CD?
I will. I like CDs. I like the physical thing. For many of us, CDs have almost become business cards or something. You give away. Please take my music. But and I will, and it feels like it's a gate. You come to that gate and you complete that CD. It's a thing you can hold in your hand, and that's your sign where you've gone on to something else. Be it a very concrete idea like the next musical project, or an abstract like it's time to change your thinking, change what you write about, or just change an attitude.
That's a good idea. So that brings me to a question I'm asking every musician, because inquiring minds want to know. What do you think about today's technology in music? The pros and the cons.
I think it's all pros. I don't think there's any cons. It's all in how you use it. There's some really fun and intriguing music coming out now. Done in people's living rooms, and garages, and bedrooms, and we have this idea that music, that's 2 electric guitars and a bass and drums and a lead singer and maybe a keyboard player on the side. But it doesn't have to be that way anymore. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when it's not that way, it sounds a little foreign, but that doesn't mean it's not valid.
Right. Well, I was talking to somebody, and I forget who it was I was interviewing, and he was telling me that he really missed the wonders of getting excited for vinyl, and how exciting it was to put out vinyl records, and waiting for the release of top-notch, like I can't wait for RCA or Capitol to come out with this CD or this vinyl record, and then that we don't have that kind of excitement, and that now you can stream everything and people aren't necessarily doing CDs, and that he misses the days of old-fashioned music, and I was just wondering how you feel about that.
And I can see that. I remember watching the release dates for an Aerosmith album, or the Babies, or a bunch of bands I followed back at that time. And true, I miss that feeling of the excitement. But part of it is we've changed too. We're older than we used to be. We're not 20 anymore. And just the nature of music has changed. We're bombarded with music. You get in an elevator, there's music. You go to the grocery store, there's music. I heard Iggy Pop at the grocery store a few weeks ago.
That's great.
But it's just, we're bombarded with music. There's so much out there that sometimes it's refreshing just to get away from it from a little bit.
Well, let's get away from talking for a little bit, and let's go to your first song. And what would that one be?
Oh, let's play GD Train.
I love playing this with you.
Thank you.
This is such a fun song. Matt Bruner, GD Train.
GD train tracks through this town. Grand Dominion, huge and proud, blows his whistle long and loud. GD train, GD train in front of me. It pulled out from Laramie. It stops just where it wants to be. GD train, GD train makes me shut up the car, set the brake and open the door. Stuck in this spot forevermore. GD train, GD train. Makes me wait too long. 50 boxcars from stem to stern. Blocks every crossing in this town. GD train, GD train in front of me. Grand Dominion for all to see. That's not what GD means to me. GD train, GD train makes me shut up the car, set the brake and open the door. Stuck in this spot forevermore. GD train, GD train, GD train.
GD train. That's a great one. I like it when you invite me on stage to play harmonica with you. It's so fun. What inspired you for that? Just getting stuck at the railroad tracks?
That's exactly it. Every place I've lived seems to have trains and train crossings, and I think what's the worst was in Atlanta. The train would come and just park across the tracks and block traffic for an hour, and then it'd move a little bit, and then it'd block it longer, and yeah.
Yeah.
Just trains.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I love, again, your music. Back to technology and music. Would you, like, I've been talking to some people about them not even carrying CDs anymore, and they're talking about carrying little thumb drives, and then having a little cover for the thumb drive. And they said they think that's where it's going to come now from, or just streaming, where you can have all the covers and everything. Do you stream your CDs? Can people go on?
Yes. It's not technically streamed, but I have them on YouTube, and I believe they're on Spotify, and then the usual suspects, yeah.
Yeah, I think, see, that's, to me, a lot of musicians will argue with me, but I love technology. I love technology, and I love the way technology is having us musicians do things a little differently. I mean, we're in a studio, and I have a 24-track recording studio on my computer. Now, in the old days, a Fostech 4-track set me back quite a bit of money. And I think this program was under $200, and it gives me 24 tracks. So
yes,
it's amazing how, and it's digital.
Yes, and I've got a recording studio at home. I do all my own recording, engineering, even do my CD artwork, and everything completely self-contained. And it's
the indie artist.
Yes, and it's a lot different when you had to save up money and find that guy that has the 8-track reel-to-reel system and get something that wasn't even broadcast quality. And I'm a bad rock star. I get up in the morning, I get my cup of coffee, I go out to the studio and work, and I'm usually done with music by 11 a.m. unless I have a gig.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Oh, that is so funny. And that's me. I was telling you the story earlier about playing a gig here in Tucson, and they wanted us to play till the wee hours. And I'm like, dude, I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. Yes. You're lucky if I stay till 10, and that's even past my bedtime. And I really enjoyed, that's what I liked about Zen Salad, is we were 3 older people with 2 very young people. And the 3 of us would always say, we're past rock star dreams, but these 2 were young and in their 20s, and it was fun to watch the different perceptions in music from our newer musicians coming in versus, and I swear half the people in Tucson, over half the people in Tucson are our age. We're all aging rockers. Yeah,
it's 50-50 bet whether I'm up till 2 o'clock or up at 2 o'clock, and neither of those happen very often.
I'm up by 4 or 4:30, so 2 o'clock is almost time for me to be getting up.
Right,
I go to bed so early. But Tucson and music. Tell me what you think about the Tucson scene with music, and how does it differ from, say, where you came from?
Well, where I came from as an adult was Atlanta, Georgia, which is a very competitive music market, and you have to have some clout and a bunch of fans if you're going to get booked places generally. From there, I moved to Cold Spring, Texas, which is under 900 people, and there was a restaurant in town, and they wanted somebody to sing, and I was the only volunteer, so I had a Saturday night gig for several years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's lucky.
So it's real easy to be the big fish if you choose a small enough pond.
So, but what do you think about the Tucson music scene? As you know, and I think I say this every show, Tucson has ranked 7th in the nation for the best place for local music.
Yeah, I got introduced to it a sideways way. I was just moved to Tucson, and I was in Los Angeles for a music conference. And before the class started, we were just talking about who we were, where we were from. And I said, "Oh, my name's Matt. I just moved to Tucson." And Connie Brannick leaned over and gave me her card and said, "As soon as you get back, I will get you on stage." And Connie, I don't forget those things. After that, I saw something about the singer-songwriter at Monterey Court. And so I sent a message to Eric Schaefer. And he said, "Yeah, come on by and sing and play." And so I did. And was at the time was too naive to realize I was sitting amongst Tucson royalty to my left and to my right. But
who were you sitting with? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, there's Steph and George over here.
Oh my God,
and there's Mitzi Cowell over here, and
yeah.
Sabra Falk over there. Yeah. It's truly not worthy.
Well, but you fit right in with them now, so you are worthy.
We could debate that, but I'll let that go.
Stop, Matt. So you got in through, and again, kudos to Monterey Court.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Javier is just incredible with getting local musicians heard.
Yeah.
And whether he's heard you or not, he'll get you up there.
Yeah.
And he'll give you a chance to play, and then he'll say, well, I sold plenty, or, well, I haven't sold enough. But he'll be honest enough to tell you.
Yeah, he's a very good guy. He's good to us musicians. And in a way, he kind of reminds us that this music is a business.
Yes.
You can do it for fun. You can do it as a business, but you always got to be mindful of respecting the hours you're supposed to play, being respectful to the people there, and fulfilling your obligations.
And that's bringing in a crowd. And a lot of people right now, the debate in the music is, we should be getting paid and the clubs should be advertising for us. And the truth is, in California, they have that pay to play, where if you want to play at a bar, you have to pay the bar to play.
Yeah, and they give you tickets, and it's up to you to try to sell those tickets.
Right.
Which, the whole, the downsizing, the recording at home. A lot of this is about being a business, and you can treat it as a business. You can still be an artist. You can still be creative, but understand what it is you're doing.
I talked to Gregory Morton yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he's great. And one of the things he said, if he can give anybody advice, was get a job. Have a job if you want to make it music. That way you can pick and choose your gigs as you want. You can pay your mortgage and you don't suffer, because I don't know if you know that, 73% of musicians suffer depression. And it's a new study that came out. And a lot of that depression is that financial insecurity of, am I going to make all my bills this month?
Yeah.
And it's a scary world. So
yeah, and that's a good point, that just because you're an artist doesn't entitle you to be a burden on other people. Buy your groceries, pay your rent. Those are important things.
Yeah. I think part of being a musician for me is the fact that I can pay my mortgage, I can pay my car payment, I can pay for my food and my medical, and it gives me the opportunity to be a little picky and choosy as to where I want to play, and not just grab anything, but grab what I would like to.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that musicians have to look at, especially, I ran into somebody recently. She was 18, and I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? She goes, I'm going to make a living as a musician. And bless her heart, I tried not to laugh too hard. But I said, oh, honey, have you thought about going to school, getting a little something under your belt? So
I know a lot of people who make a living with music, and very few of them make it performing their own music. They have become recordists, they become engineers, they're book writers, they are tutors, a lot of different things like that. And if you're thinking career in music, chances are you will not end up doing what you want to do. Hopefully it'll be something you enjoy, but it's probably not what you initially chose. That's how life works.
Or, like for me, I remember when I decided to do what I do for a living, which is, counseling, psychotherapy. I have found a way to incorporate music into my job. And so, oftentimes I'll have kids come in, and I'm like, if you're really good in therapy, I'll teach you some ukulele chords. And then if you're really good, after 90 days, maybe mom will buy you a ukulele. And then mom buys them a ukulele. They bring their ukulele in, and every week they do really good. We learn and play music together, which is such a good motivator for kids. And with adults, it's oftentimes I'll assign music to them. I really feel like you should listen to this album when you get upset, or you should do this, or here's a friend of mine's CD, go look it up and see if it cheers you up. So, I think we can find ways to incorporate what we do for pleasure
Right.
into what we do for a living.
That's so neat that you found a way to overlap those things. My adult career was as a landlord. There's
Landlord.
Scraping, painting, cleaning, fixing, and there's not much crossover between writing a song and having to crawl into a dumpster to clear it out because somebody dumped stuff in it and it got all hung up in there. But I enjoy the music. It's just a different thing from what my past life was.
So, Matt, let's go to your next song and let them hear something you do. What are you going to do for us next?
How about The Dark Side? This is an interesting one. I was taking some vocal lessons, and my instructor said, "Why don't you write a love song, Matt?" And Matt, I'm kind of a dark person. I'm a happy person. I smile a lot, but I'm fascinated with the dark side of life. So this is a love song about manslaughter and suicide.
Okay. Matt Bruner, The Dark Side on KMKR FM, Tucson.
Think back to a year ago, a time when there wasn't us. I am alone now, all on me. Blame me for her loss. Clouds turn to rain, then to sun. The clouds come back again. Life now stays in the shadow of one. No warmth to help my pain. Do you see the stars from the other side? See the moon from the dark side? Wish I were with you. Wish you were with me. I'll be with you soon. They say life goes on, but now I know it's just a crash, a halt. We don't go back, I don't grow. I'm withered from the fault. Will ever after be like this? Will I be without you? But I keep having this dream, convinced that we'll be together soon. Do you see the stars from the other side? See the moon from the dark side? Wish I were with you. Wish you were with me. I'll be with you soon. Death is an arsenal, I'll take my pick. A dose, a trick, revolvers click. The veil of slumber becomes too thick. Blood that coursed begins to stick. I will hold you soon. I will hold you soon.
I do like that song, and I happen to be a fan of all your songs on your CD.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward for more CDs from you and for more for me to play on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me something, Matt, that was one of your better musical experiences, if you can narrow it down.
It's kind of a long story. Do we have time?
Well, try to shorten it down. But
Okay. Back in 1976.
that was the year I graduated.
Yeah, I was playing in a rock and roll cover band doing high school dances. We were doing pretty well with it. Our singer drove a cab, and he was a pretty talkative guy. He ran into some people who were involved with filming for a major movie in Atlanta. This was a basketball sequence recorded in the Omni. We're talking, I don't know, 10,000, 15,000 seater. And so Floyd, our singer, being a smart guy, says, well, do you need entertainment between the times you're filming? So he got us in there. So this is a little high school cover band. We're like 16 years old. We are playing the Omni, the biggest venue in Atlanta, Georgia, the night after Bob Seger. Ooh. And we were the second Atlanta-based band to play the Omni, the other being Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Wow.
So it's one of those things that it was not pleasant. We would play, and then when it was time to film, they'd get this big air horn go, brap. Yeah. We had to stop in the middle of the song or whatever. But gosh, talk about bragging rights. We played in the Omni. The night after Bob Seger.
That's wow. That's what I love about interviewing everybody is I kind of ask similar questions, and I have learned so many things. Like, did you know that Gregory Morton played with Don Ho?
Yes, I did.
I didn't know that, and
he is just such a nice, easygoing guy, and you through other people you find out these secrets about him. It's like, oh my gosh!
It's like, who knew?
Yeah.
Jerry Reed, Chet Atkins,
yes,
played with these people, and then you played at the Omni, and it's just like, I love that. The KMKR gives people the opportunity to get to know the musician,
yes.
And so, is there anything that you want somebody to know about you? Come on, Matt.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I guess I would just say I do music because I love it. I mean, it's always nice when there's stuff in the tip jar and things like that.
Yeah, but what's the secret, Matt? Come on.
I have too many guitars.
Okay. Yeah, every time I see you, you're showing something off. You have basses and guitars.
Yeah, I just, when I was a kid, good instruments were so hard to come by, and now there's so much good stuff. I just went a little crazy. I'm trying to do better.
Well, I have 22 ukuleles.
Yeah, there we go. That's why we're friends.
And there's quite a few things that I want right now, but Matt, you gave some good advice a few minutes ago. We were out in the front room talking. And one thing I like to get our singers to do is, and musicians, is to give somebody some good advice. So if you don't say what I think you're not going to say or do say, I'll tell them what it was. But what is some advice you'd give somebody that's in the field?
I don't remember what I said.
Let me hint. Let me hint.
Yeah, give me a hint.
Okay. You always carry an extra bag.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I show up for most shows with a bag. It's usually in the trunk of my car unless we need it. It's got an extra microphone cables, extra guitar cables, direct boxes, batteries for guitars, batteries for tuners, an extra tuner, a screwdriver, duct tape. There's a real easy way to be a hero at a show, and that's having one of those things when no one else does.
Well, and how many times it really is a first aid kit for musicians is what
Absolutely.
you carry. And so, okay, so let's go there for a second. If we told someone, let's make a first aid kit for all musicians to carry a first aid kit, what should we put in the first aid kit? I mean, for me, the first thing is a couple extra mics and extra cords.
Yes.
What else? So you're saying 9-volt and regular small batteries for your tuners?
CR2032 batteries, that's what most of the tuners use. 9-volt battery, that's what most guitars use.
Right.
Some use AA batteries, might throw a couple of those in. The microphones, decent microphones are cheap. You can go on Amazon and get a
$25.
Yeah. Cables, likewise cheap. Throw a few cables in there. So surprising how many times I've been a hero because I had a screwdriver.
Mm-hmm. And the direct boxes.
Oh yes, and direct boxes, very inexpensive.
I was telling you that we played a gig recently, and they only had XLRs to plug into, and we didn't have any direct boxes, so our musical instruments couldn't be plugged in. So really, and you say on Amazon they're what, $20-25?
Yeah. And you can show up to a gig and you say, well, we expected the hall to have all these things, or you can just pull out a bag, plug in, and perform.
Yeah, so I think the best advice than what we're talking about is to make a first aid kit for musicians, which would be mics, cords, direct box, some batteries, tape, and screwdriver.
Yes.
And maybe a granola bar and a bag of nuts.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah, any other advice you'd want to give somebody?
Just my observation is that if you love music, you probably won't end up doing what you think you're going to do, but if you keep at it, you'll find a path. You'll find your spot. You'll find a way to use your expression for other people to enjoy.
Okay. What's up and coming for you besides the CD?
More darkness and cynicism, but with a smile. I've got the CD. I've got the recording done. I'm mastering right now. I'm getting ready to do artwork, and probably a few months after that, I'll have another one. And I've also started a list for another CD.
Okay.
I've been kind of inspired recently. And playing out when it comes up. Not a lot of stuff coming up. Got a show with Tammy in October.
You're doing a showcase at the House of Bards.
Yeah.
By the time people hear this, you will have performed it.
Okay.
But you've been, and I want to thank you very publicly that when I get in binds when I'm booking showcase at the House of Bards, I can always call on you and go, Matt, we're down. Somebody canceled. And you're like, I will be there. And I know you have a drive because you live out in Picture Rocks or something.
Out in the beautiful desert. We drive through a national park to go to the grocery store. Think about that.
And you are married with 2 dogs.
Yes.
And you do live in Picture Rocks and happy?
Yes. Life is very good. When I was young, I was kind of maybe smart, maybe dumb. I don't even know, but I worked really hard, and we kind of had some goals for life, and we just blew past those goals. So we've got a comfortable life now. We're out, got our little spot in the desert, and we hang out with friends, and we play music, and sometimes we just stay home and watch TV, and life is good.
So, you know what? I look forward to those days where I argue with Leslie. I'm like, one of these days we have to just stay home and do that Netflix thing. I mean, people get like, what is it called? Binging?
Binging, yeah.
I don't know what that is, because we just don't have time, but I'm working my life out so I can have time, because I think as much as you put into music, we should put into our personal care too, and make sure that we're okay and we're healthy. And
that's a real important thing too that I hadn't mentioned, that you can have these goals, you can have these aspirations, but you gotta enjoy the journey too. There's a path somewhere in between where you can accomplish these things and enjoy getting there and doing it. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I look at my life and looking forward, there are always these challenges. There's always these questions. There's always these worries about what direction do I take. When I look back at my life, the path is so obvious. Mm-hmm. The path that I was led, the path that I was directed was so obvious to bring me to where I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was just looking at you right now as you were talking, and I remember telling the story the other day to someone, and I forgot it was with you. I was with you when I had my heart attack.
Yeah.
On trying to get on stage with those big Tiffany's.
Yeah, that's a way to get famous in Tucson. Have a heart attack on stage.
Tyler, you're a little gray. Your lips are blue.
Yeah.
It's my makeup.
Yeah, when one person's saying, Tyler is bright red, and another person saying, Tyler is ash gray, and you were actually these two things within a 20-minute span. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have been hauling that stuff around.
Well, and that's one of the things we were talking about as musicians, to use common sense. If you don't feel good, then you don't have to play the show. I remember the Folk Fest, was it last year? Year before last?
Year before last.
You were so sick. You were very sick and in the hospital. So
yeah, I had it all planned. I was working with the festival like I do most years. Also had a set to perform, and the day they're setting up, there's a little digestive upset, and nothing to worry about. Yeah, the next day I'm in the ER with a kidney stone. That was a surprise.
And you cannot play with a kidney stone.
I cannot crawl with a kidney stone.
I've been the recipient of one as well, and I would say that is probably the worst pain one can ever do. So you didn't get to play the Folk Fest. Did the end of the world happen?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ups and downs in the music business, and I believe we should just roll with that and just say, hey,
Yeah, take it seriously. Show up if you're supposed to be there if you can, but don't be crazy about it.
Right. And you were supposed to play with us at the Folk Fest. It was Annie English and us, and all of a sudden it's like, well, now what? And a friend of mine named Lee Walsh was walking in the crowd, and we're like, psst, Lee. She's like, what? It's like, get up here. And she's like, what? It's like, you're playing with us. And she's like, what? And I'm like, Matt's sick. And she's like, oh. And she said, I've always wanted to play the Folk Fest. I just didn't know I had to just show up. and she showed up and she played. But you are a regular at the Folk Fest.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What is that like for you?
It's a year worth of thought, 4 months worth of planning, filling out an application, and worrying terribly about it for a 25-minute gig that doesn't pay. But it's fun. It's so much fun to be part of that, and it really is a Tucson event. This is not, it is a very big festival. I don't want to make it sound otherwise, but so many other festivals, there are people from all over the country, all over the world come, but this is really a Tucson thing. There's a national headliner that will show up, but this is us. This is Tucson people doing this, and that's a big thing, and it's so much fun.
Good. Are you applying this coming year for it?
Probably.
All right. Well, Matt, my pleasure talking to you. I always look forward to playing with you, talking with you, and just being in your energy. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave. What are we going to leave? What song?
A song called Throwing Stones. I'm not much of a protesty kind of guy. The people that know me well know that. But occasionally it kind of leaks through, and maybe a universal message, not necessarily pointed at any one person or any one thing, but something to make us think. And that is my song "Throwing Stones." The throwing stones, pick up a rock and throw it at something, as a metaphor for releasing that tension inside of you.
And real quick before we leave, if somebody wants to see your stuff, hear your stuff, do you have a webpage?
Yes, mattbruner.com, MattBruner.com.
One N.
Yes. You can find me on Facebook, Matt Bruner Musician. I've got a bunch of stuff on YouTube. Look up Matt Bruner, and it should take you there.
All right. So thank you once again, Matt.
Thank you.
This is Tyler Woods. You're listening to KMKR 99.9 FM Tucson, and I'm leaving you with Matt Bruner, Throwing Stones, and stick around because there's a whole lot more music to come after we hear this song.
I'm gathering up stones to throw when the time seems right. I don't throw stones very often, but it feels better if I might. I have a pile of stones to throw, might throw them at a tree, or skip them far across the lake. Feels better when I set one free. I'll throw a stone to end a fight, stone to make people free. I'll throw a stone for justice, I'll throw one for me. I'll throw a stone for moms and dads who don't get a child's respect. I'll throw a stone for a helpless child who suffers a parent's neglect. I'll throw a stone for the dying who are praying for relief. I'll throw one for the survivors suffering through the grief. I'll throw a stone to end the fight, stone to make people free. I'll throw a stone for justice, I'll throw one for me. I'll throw a stone for a nation that has a dying soul, for leaders that no longer lead, we don't know where to go. I'll throw a stone to end the fight, stone to make people free. I'll throw a stone for justice, I'll throw one for me.